These are $1,500. Yep, Bang& Olufsen has pretty much lost their minds with this. Yep. Hello, everybody. Yep and Yeti back with another episode. Today we're going to be talking about the beograce, Bang& Olufsen's most expensive earbuds so far. $1,500. Yep, they lost their minds with this one. So I'm just gonna talk about the specs and my personal experience and how they compare to the earbuds, and just give my my final thoughts on how they are overall with the price. All right, let's talk about the specs. So these guys have a 12mm drivers, which are made out of titanium. They have LC3 Plus. LE audio, high res. They stream up to 96 kilohertz. And this works pretty much by connecting the USB-C cable to the phone or really any other source. This is great and convenient if you just have issues with Bluetooth, or you're pretty much in an airplane and you wanted to connect to the display that's showing a movie. You can pretty much easily do that by just putting the USB-C onto the port, and you can stream it from the case to your earbuds. I gotta let you know that this only works when you turn off the Bluetooth completely off, so it's kind of an inconvenience, but also a convenience in itself. Battery life, they have 4.5 hours with ANC on, and 17 hours when including the case. 5 minutes gives you approximately 2.5 hours of playtime. They also have wireless charging, Bluetooth 5.3, AAC, SBC, no LDAC, which is kind of very upsetting, and they have multi-point. They also have a companion app, so if you want to EQ the sound quality to your liking, you can do that pretty well. So let's talk about really my thoughts and opinion and just my overall experience when dealing with these guys for the past weeks. And I'm just gonna say that these guys are very overpriced. I think these are probably the worst price to value ratio I have ever encountered. I don't think they're worth $1,500. I think they are worth probably $700, and that's kind of pushing it, because here's what I realized, and this is what I have found, is that while they have a bit better bass and they are louder in comparison to, let's say, the 11s, I don't think it's justified putting a price tag of $1,500. The streaming case, you can pretty much easily alleviate that issue with just getting a dongle, get a dedicated dongle, and you pretty much get the same quality. It doesn't really improve the sound quality that much. It does make it more convenient, but you can pretty much easily do it with a dongle and actually do it with multipoint, which this one, I don't understand why you can't do multipoint. You have to pretty much turn off the Bluetooth to activate it. It's very weird. Now, in comparison to sound quality between the 11s and the Grace, is that the 11s are, I would say, sound better. Like, they have better definition, they have better detail, they're just as bassy. These ones are slightly more bassier, but I don't really understand what the thinking is here and why the sound signature is arguably tuned not terribly, but worse to my ears. I don't think this is $1,500 in my personal opinion. What I was actually expecting, to be honest with you, is a modern version of the EQs. Now, the EQs are my preferred earbuds for just the best sounding earbud, because of the fact that they are able to give a very detailed but also very deep, rich bass. And I haven't really gotten anything like that other than the 11s. Like, the 11s pretty much come close, but I think they sacrifice a little bit of quality for that volume. And I just don't understand why Bang& Olufsen couldn't really modernize this, or at least put those drivers in the same chassis in the beograce. But for my personal experience, my personal listening, I would prefer the EQs over the Grace. Like, the Grace hit you really hard. I mean, like, I'm not gonna lie that the bass isn't bad, but it is up your face when it comes to just listening to them. Like, they are louder, but when it comes to just sound quality and just pure sound quality, I prefer listening to the EQs just because of that detail. None of these earbuds here have that detail. Maybe the PI8s come close. I think the PI8s are the closest one to the EQs when it comes to just that detail that I've been very hungry for. It's just that I just don't understand why the Bang& Olufsen just couldn't really modernize the EQs, give that detail and bass and make it slightly louder. But not really. I'm not sure what exactly is the thought process. I mean, it's made out of titanium. I would assume it would improve a lot in sound quality, especially with the highs and mids. But overall, I mean, like, $1,500 is kind of insane because, like, $1,500 you can get like 20 Tozos NC20s. It's ridiculous. And if you lose it into, like, the washing machine, or it accidentally gets dropped in a body of water, well, you're kind of screwed there. So I just don't understand what the thought process was here. It's just a slightly much bassier version of the 11s. I think the 11s are just a much more better version of these, or a better deal, mainly because of the fact that these are just much more tuned to a more consumer level. I think that's what they're probably going for. Over just a more audiophile type of way. So overall, I mean, if I was going to really say, like, are they worth $1,500? Not really. I think the design of the earbuds are lackluster. I don't really like them. I mean, I like how they feel. I actually like the feeling of the case. I think the case feels really nice. It feels heavy. It feels well built. I like the build quality, but the design of these silver cylinders here that are attached to the earbud, it looks really goofy. I don't like it. It looks very, very goofy. It looks very, I'm not like other audiophiles type of vibe. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of disappointed with these guys, mainly because I didn't really get that detail that I've been looking for. I think they should be like maybe $800, $700 is a better deal, but $1,500, no, not really. In comparison to, let's say, the Noble Rex 5s, these are pretty much everybody's number ones. I think I prefer. I think I would say the beograce are a little bit better. I think I like the bass a bit more smoother. That's just me. But the Noble Rex 5s are, they hit harder. Their bass hits really hard. They have a much more nice reverb. So when it comes to just pure audiophile, which one is a better audiophile earbud? I would say the Noble Rex 5s are. I think the beograce is a bit more of a consumer side type of liking. So if I was going to choose which one I would pick, I would say maybe the beograce, mainly because of the fact that I do have a much more consumer taste. That's why I do like the 11s a bit more, because of the fact that it is, well, they're recessant detail. The bass still hits pretty hard. But like I said, when it comes to just who is it for, if these guys are really meant for audiophiles, I think the Noble Rex 5s will give you a much better deal. I think that the beograce is a much more consumer, high-end luxury crowd. I think this is someone for people that have too much money and just simply want to stand out more. I don't think they have pretty much matured with this design. I think this design has been a very glitchy too, mainly because of the Bluetooth connection having issues where I would have kind of a latency issue where it would connect one at a time, which is mind-blowing because this is $1,500. You would expect it to pretty much be on the same level as, like, let's say the AirPod Pro 3s. That being said, let me get those AirPod Pro 3s out here. The AirPod Pro, oh my god, that thing fell off. I gotta get a new case. So the AirPod Pro 3s, these guys decimate the beograce. They really do. Now, if you don't really care about sound quality, or you just do want good sound quality, like good sound in earbuds for a lot of good features, these guys decimate the beograce pretty easily. I'm not going to lie to you. These guys just simply are a league in its own. Now, when it comes to luxury earbuds, most people are talking about really the sound quality. That's really it, because a lot of these earbuds here, they kind of sacrifice ANC a lot. The Noble Rex 5s have a very they have a very terrible ANC. It kind of works, doesn't really work. You wouldn't really notice it. I turned it off and I still didn't notice the ANC turn off completely. So the beograce, I think, are pretty much a much better version of the EQs when it comes to ANC. Their ANC is actually really nice. It actually does a pretty good job. But when it comes to the competition in ANC performance, the AirPod Pro 3s are just a better option. They just are. And there's not many earbuds that can really compete with AirPod Pro 3s, like the Bose or the Sonys. Like, the Sonys do a pretty good job giving a nice sound quality. I think their bass is really fleshed out. They're a much more cleaner-ish version of the Technics AZ100s. It's just that the ANC is reliant on the phone tips. The phone tips, I just took them out. I didn't really like them. I had to swap them with the Liberty 3s, which it kind of makes me upset, because I also had to mention that the phone tips for the XM6 rely on this mesh thing, so in that way it can pretty much capture a lot of dust or water, so it doesn't get into the drivers. But when it comes to just the sound quality and ANC performance, because ANC does change the sound quality a bit, it does make it slightly more quieter, and it does actually lose a little bit of detail. So a lot of these high-end luxury earbuds try to present a very effective ANC while providing a good sound quality experience, but the problem is that it usually has to sacrifice a little bit of that sound quality, or at times it doesn't even have ANC at all, just to give you a nice listening experience. I think the Bose and the Sonys are a very good consumer type of earbuds. They have excellent ANC and have very good sound quality. Now, the beograce is essentially kind of like these guys in a way. It's just that they are slightly louder and have deeper bass, but are $1,500. But when we're talking about the AirPod Pro 3s, oh my god, the AirPod Pro 3s just decimate the beograce when it comes to just ANC and transparency mode, because the transparency mode on the AirPod Pro 3s are just unmatched. They're very natural sounding and just do a heck of a good job. But these guys, recording on today, I think are $200. Yeah, you have to rely on the Apple ecosystem for these guys to function pretty much up to their full potential. But even by themselves, they are still a better option because of the fact that they are still the kings when it comes to ANC and transparency. The beograce, I don't understand what the thinking was here. The connection is glitchy. There is latency issues. I do notice it. It does have that issue where it connects one at a time, where the right earbud connects before the left earbud. I don't know why that's an issue. It does cut out at times too. And there's moments where it just doesn't connect at all because of the fact that it doesn't have a very good connection to the Apple phone for some reason, or it just gets confused, I think, and it's not fully matured. The design itself is not fully matured. You would think that with the 11s, they would have fully, gotten all of the issues pretty much settled, but no, not really. At the end of the day, if you're looking for a nice pair of earbuds that have a companion app, multi-point, and sound good, then the AZ Techniques 100s are pretty good options, or the XM6, because the XM6 and the Techniques are pretty much up there. I just think the Techniques are a bit better value than any of these earbuds. And if you want something with streaming while, the case, the Bowers and Wilkins PI8s are a pretty much better option. And not just that, they are also more detailed than the beograce. So if you want something with detail, then go with the IP. Just don't expect you will get bass, because the bass on this is a little bit okay. But when it comes to which one I would choose in the entire bunch, I think the 11s are still a preferred option in my case, just for this generation. They're pretty much the closest to the EQs in terms of detail and bass, and I do enjoy them way more than the other earbuds when it comes to just strictly to listening that sound. Yeah, I mean, the Bose and the Sonys, they have great ANC. It's just that the sound quality is it's good. It's good. I'm not gonna lie. It's just I just prefer listening to 11s. It's just just the case. I would prefer listening more to the 11s than any of these earbuds. So if at the end of the day, which one would I choose? I would still choose the 11s, even with the option of the beograce. So yeah, I mean, it's a very disappointing thing that Bang& Olufsen is pretty much pushing for. I'm not sure who is in control of the company right now. I think that they have been doing a lot of bad decisions recently, especially with the H100 not getting LDAC, kind of lying to their fan base there. Very sneaky, very sneaky, like Pearl Harbor there. Very sneaky. Not a good thing there. Not a good thing. This is kind of an insult in a way to anybody that is very loyal and buys a lot of Bang & Olufsen products. Like myself, I have bought a bunch of Bang & Olufsen products from the past 5 years, and this is kind of one of the more ridiculous things that they're doing right now. So yeah, I mean, if I was gonna give a score right now, I'd say, well, not even wait. Don't even wait. I would just say don't avoid this. And if you really want, Bang & Olufsen, go with the 11s. Just go with the 11s. Ignore this. Ignore this until this pretty much gets faded into the void. I think the 11s are a much better option here. Hey, have a nice time.